I was mostly motivated by pain. I had a terrible drinking problem and consider myself to be an alcoholic and a drug addict. I was introduced to Kava by a friend, had used Kava as a harm reduction tool. So when you drink traditionally prepared Kava, you feel relaxed, happy, cheerful, socially comfortable. Overdoing it on Kava is it's not going to be hard on your system. It's not going to be physically destructive to you, which is why it's good for addicts and alcoholics, because we're so used to that pattern of just more, more, and more. A little bit of Kava really is the most enjoyable amount to drink.
You could have given up, but you didn't. You could have stopped believing, but you didn't. You could have kept living their expectations, but you decided to make this life your own. And in turn, you're here. Hello, everyone. Today we're meeting Ben McQueen. He is an entrepreneur, CEO, and business manager of Karuna Kava. Hello, Ben. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So let's start a conversation by diving into your journey of becoming the person you are today. What inspired you to go to the direction of your own passion?
Yeah, I think I was mostly motivated by pain. I had a terrible drinking problem and consider myself to be, an alcoholic and a drug addict. And the path that I was on was leading me to some really dark places. And I was introduced to Kava, thankfully, by a friend that had also similarly struggled with addiction and had used Kava as a harm reduction tool. And so it wasn't really until I had been introduced to Kava that I really found a path in life for myself where I could actually not only do good for myself, but do good for others as well.
Mhm. Yeah, so Kava drink that you invented, how was the recipe coming along? What did you know about this, I would say, substance or natural product that goes as the ingredient that helps people to deal with addiction problems? So what really kind of was an inspiration for you to create that recipe for people?
Yeah, and I would say that I we make our kava these little pouches, this product that people
Mm-hmm.
can buy online. We make it in a way that's very similar to the way that people in the South Pacific Islands have been making kava for thousands of years, about 3,000 years. So they invented it, and in many ways really did invent it, because they took the plant, the wild growing kava plant, and then
Mm-hmm.
they selectively bred that plant and created noble quality kava, meaning kava that's made for human consumption. Wild kava would make you kind of feel ill, kind of sick, whereas noble kava, it makes you feel really calm, relieves stress naturally. It makes you feel kind of cheerful and euphoric, but very socially comfortable. It's a conduit to connection. So a lot of people find that it's very socially connecting. And so I looked at what peoples in the South Pacific Islands had been doing for thousands of years, and then I just tried my best to honor that tradition by making water prepared traditional kava that people could enjoy here in the United States, because it's
Mm-hmm.
not well known here. It's not as well known as it is in the South Pacific, and so we do add some natural ingredients to our pouches, to our kava products, but they are really, at its core, it's a 3,000-year-old recipe that was gifted to us from the people of Vanuatu and Fiji and Tonga.
Yes, definitely. So we just don't know what other, cultures has been using all these years, really. And now it's becoming more of a mainstream type of offering to society to try non-alcoholic beverages made purely from natural ingredients that are available for us, but we just didn't know that it could really deliver such a powerful um, healing modality to our body. Because, like you mentioned, what comes with it is a sense of peace, joyfulness, euphoria, but in more relaxed and natural way. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, and Kava's acting on your GABA system, which is the same system that alcohol acts on, except alcohol is doing it in a much more destructive way. So,
Mm.
Kava is an anxiolytic, a mood booster, and a muscle relaxant. So when you drink traditionally prepared Kava, you feel relaxed, happy, cheerful, chatty, socially comfortable, at ease. I know that for myself, as an alcoholic and a drug addict, one thing that I always struggled with was relapse because I wanted
Mhm.
to be sober so badly. I wanted to, I hated the consequences of my alcohol use,
Mhm.
but I struggled because whenever I would come off of the alcohol, I would get very anxious and very stressed and very antisocial, and I would withdraw from society. And I wouldn't know how to access that part of myself that contained happiness. And Kava, and so therefore I would relapse. I would drink again because seeking what I had found in alcohol before, but could no longer find in alcohol at all because it wasn't doing what it used to do for me. It was only hurting me. And
Mhm.
so Kava was a tool that allowed me to go back out into society and be productive and functional and not drunk and causing chaos for the
Mhm.
public. I
Right.
wasn't the best person to be in public when I was drinking. And Kava also brought me into a space of connection with other people. And I think connection and community is really the key for my sobriety today. Thank God I'm coming up on 2.5 years of complete total abstinence from alcohol. And um, so much of that is dependent on the fact that Kava has been a tool with which I've found community and friendship and created connection with other people who share similar goals. And so
Mm.
a lot of people use Kava for things that aren't related to addiction recovery at all. Some people use Kava because it's been shown to improve your REM sleep by up to 40%. It's great
Yeah.
for rest and sleep. Some people use it as a natural way to reduce stress because we're living in a world that's kind of stressful and there's a lot going
Mhm.
on. Um, Other people use it as a tool for cultural connection, and, especially people from the South Pacific Islands. It is a way to connect with your people, with your culture, with your past, with your traditions. It has spiritual importance, and some people even use it for pain relief. I've known people that have been going through chemotherapy for cancer, that
Mhm.
have had knee replacements. It is physically relaxing, and sometimes some physical relaxation is all you need to really address discomfort.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with us always feeling that stress in our body, with daily activities, that's how we usually seek different types of distraction or substances, or even like binging on TV, social media. It's something that helps you to escape that present moment where you don't want to deal with the type of, I would say, emotions that come up for you, that's in your face, that you have to kind of like process, and you're trying to escape by any means, but it's like you said, it's self-destructive. And sometimes we don't realize, but because it feels good in the moment, but then we deal with consequences of that later on, right? So it just, whatever is like chemical or synthetic, it's not naturally produced, it shouldn't be put in our body to begin with. It is a poison that we are really feeding ourselves with. So with really coming back to our nature, to what is grown and what was used for years and years, and we just kind of like didn't know about it, or maybe it was hidden. And then everything that's now available, I feel like, um, there are a lot of ways for us to find that de-stress in a more common and natural way. And for us to really come back to that present moment, we need maybe some kind of assistance with a certain, like you mentioned, those drinks that's available, but it's just a tool. It's not something we have to depend on, right? Because sometimes people, once they see another way, they kind of like attach to it, right? And it becomes a rush for them. It's like something that's really not useful in the long term, but it helps to realign yourself with your true nature, and then eventually like you wouldn't need it really. It's just like a social way of I guess connecting with people, and it's a substitute for alcoholic drinks as well, and it's good for your system. So but you don't have to take it every day as I see it. So what is your I would say maybe advice based on your experience or people that you know who are struggling with addictions, is either drugs or alcohol. So what kind of like a way for them to substitute that substance with this drink in terms of like how often they should take it, for how long, until they don't need it anymore?
Sure. That's a great point. And I would say, and it's not even kind of like you touched on, it's not even drugs and alcohol. These days we have cell phones that, take so much of our attention and really make it so that we have a mindfulness crisis.
Mm,
And Kava is kind of mindfulness in a beverage because it takes down that base layer of stress to where you can get back to your natural space of being in your body. It's very grounding. You can be yourself. Now, if you're looking to drink kava as an alternative to alcohol, or I've even seen people use kava to get off of harder substances like opiates, methamphetamine, stimulants, and so, or even cigarettes. People, I
mhm,
know many people that have used kava to stop smoking cigarettes. Most people, if you're coming from a space where you've been addicted to a substance, you're going to treat any kind of substance that you run into like an addiction. So,
mhm,
like in the beginning, I drank kava a lot. Like I was just drinking kava all the time,
mhm,
which was a net positive for me because it wasn't destroying my body. It wasn't getting me in trouble. It wasn't causing me to do things that caused me deep regret and shame, which was a major part of my addiction. And I think is a part of most addictions is this cycle of binge and then shame and self-hatred.
yeah.
And Kava was an immediate solution to that because I was no longer engaging in that shame cycle where I was just
Mhm,
constantly putting myself down. But one of the great things about kava, one of many great things about kava,
mhm,
is it's not physically addictive. So
mhm,
if when I was drinking hard, if I was drinking and drinking and drinking and then I wanted to stop, I would get that whiplash anxiety like I talked about, where
right.
I physically have a withdrawal from alcohol. And the only thing that would make the withdrawal better is either fighting through it for a number of days until it's gone or drinking again. And so that creates the cycle of addiction.
Mhm,
Now, I can drink kava all day long and then wake up the next day and I don't feel any physical or emotional or mental compulsion where I go, "Oh, I need kava. I need it right
mhm,
now." It's like, "Oh, it's another day. Woke up and it's a beautiful day outside. I
mhm,
slept great. The birds are chirping. I
yeah.
don't need to drink kava. There's not a physical need for it." And so that's where I really feel like kava is a harm reduction tool for people that are in a deadly disease of addiction because if you're drinking or you're using hard drugs, your addiction is a deadly disease. It and
Yeah.
in recovery rooms they say it either ends in jail, in an institution, or in
Mhm,
death. And for me, that was where I was heading. Was the the end of my life. It was a deadly disease, drinking.
mhm,
And at no point have I looked at the way that I drank kava and said, "Man, my health is in jeopardy." And in fact, since I started drinking kava, my physical health and my mental health have only steadily gone up over time because
Mm.
there's a healing process involved when you stop doing your drug of choice. And so if you're thinking about trying kava as a harm reduction technique, you could try our kava pouches. Each one of these has 3 4 ounce servings. I would suggest start with a pouch, drink that pouch over a few hours, 2 3 hours, drink 4 ounces, then drink 4 ounces, then drink 4 ounces. Kava is an adaptogen. It has a reverse tolerance quality, so you kind of want to have multiple servings throughout your session so that it can build and you can really have that breakthrough experience where you feel the kava and you access the benefits. I know people that drink 4 of these a day and
Mm.
don't have an issue with it. Kava is good because if you start to have too much kava, you will get nauseous. It's not fun to drink too much kava. It's fun
Mm.
to drink the right amount of kava and have a few servings, but your body will tell you when you've had too much. You'll get slightly nauseous. If you really overdo it, you might puke. Um, but you have to really abuse it to get to that point. And as soon as you are sick, then you're fine. But you've got to drink
Mhm.
like 10 of these to, to
Right.
abuse it. So whereas I could drink this much, I could drink 12 ounces of whiskey and be terribly sick.
Mhm.
And so another way to try kava is to make it at home. There's lots of great companies out there where you can buy dry kava root and make it in your home in the traditional way. Just make sure you don't buy extracts, stay away from concentrates. Make sure you're looking for quality, tested, noble grade uh, medium grind kava root, so the pounded kava root that is in its natural form, and you just want to use water to make that. That's how we make our kava is the water prepared traditional way of making kava. I find that to be the most holistic way of
Mhm.
of making kava. It's how people have been making kava for thousands of years. If a culture has been doing something for thousands of years and they haven't changed, there's a good chance they're onto something. So that's why we don't use solvents. We're not looking to use chemicals to pull more out of the kava root. We just want to use water. And then you need a
Yeah.
good quality strainer bag. And there's lots of videos on YouTube about how to make kava at home. Those are great resources as well.
Wow, yeah, definitely. It's just our willingness to really help ourselves. And like you mentioned, this cycle that a lot of people who are addicted, they engaged in, the shame cycle where you're always putting yourself down. And I think also the main component of it, like we don't see our own value, our own self-worthiness in that, right? So once we start realizing that we're here for a reason and we're the ones that's supposed to love ourselves, to give ourselves the best care possible, and that comes with the physical, mental, and emotional health. So whatever you put in your body, you have to kind of like know what it is and how beneficial it's for you. And if it's a poison, you wouldn't even do that to your body if you value yourself and see that self-worth in yourself. So I feel like it helps to break that cycle of shame and self-criticism and really like start seeing your value here. If you exist, you're here for a reason. Every one of us has certain unique abilities or skills that they're here to, are really like find their passion and be of service to other people. So if we just focus that energy into giving ourselves the best that we can be the best we are here to be, then we'll find that purpose. So everything is connected. And I think Cover is a great tool, either making it at home or trying different companies and see what is the best fit for you, how your body reacts. And like you mentioned, there is always, if it's small amount, it's a medicine. If it's big amount, it's a poison. So you have to know what's good for you by just trying and see how your body reacts. And you don't have to like overindulge in it. It's just like try to extract benefit from it and focus that energy in the right direction, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's really important too, is, you know, the good thing about overdoing it on Kava is it's not going to be hard on your system. It's not going to be physically destructive to you, which is why it's good for addicts and alcoholics because we're so used to that pattern of just more, more, more. And I
Mm,
have found in my personal life a little bit of kava really is the most enjoyable amount to drink. And I'm
mm,
not on here to try and sell as much of our product as we possibly can. I want people to have a positive experience with kava, which means start with just one pouch and see how it
mm.
affects you, right? Because we're all different too. Every human body is unique. And so I've watched people drink a pouch and they don't feel it at all. Some people have a
Mm.
higher natural tolerance to kava. Other people will have half a pouch and they feel, whoa, I'm really relaxed and very,
Yeah.
So start slow. Make sure you're it make sure you're using kava for the right reasons too. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to I used to drink a lot of alcohol because I was trying to check out. I
Yeah.
wanted to check out of my life. I didn't want to have to deal with all the problems I had in my life. And if that's what you're looking for in Kava, you're not going to find it. Kava isn't going to cause you to black out or avoid responsibilities, but what it can
Yeah.
do is help you get to a space where you can approach the problems in your life and start to take care of them one by one. And as I alluded to earlier in our conversation, the Kava itself hasn't been as helpful to me as the people that I've met and the community that
Mm.
I've been included into and the friends that I've made
Mm.
because of our shared interest of Kava. So
Mm.
another good thing to check out if you're interested in trying Kava is see if there's a Kava bar in your area. We have a Kava bar here in Boise, Idaho, or technically Garden City, Idaho, right outside of Boise, and it's a whole wellness focused community of people that support one another, that are here to share our struggles and to help one another out when we need help and we have fun together. We listen to music together, we laugh together, and that connection has been incredibly healing for me as an alcoholic because I think the saying is alone we go fast, but together we go far.
Mm.
And I found that to be very true because these people, this bar has brought me very far. And there's hundreds of kava bars throughout the United States. There might be one in your area, so check it out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have to check it out. In New York, maybe there is one. Yeah, that would be nice to visit.
Yeah.
But you should expand too into other states. So that would be something that people need. And I feel like the connection is the missing piece in our, daily busy lives. And if something would really promote health connection, on different levels, that we can support each other, we can be open into conversations. So conversations like this, where people feel safe, comfortable sharing, and just be in a space for another person, it's very much bonding and promotes healing, not just for you but for that person. It's like a ripple effect. So I feel like this is the most important aspect that we have to consider, and it's one of the human needs. Human connection is important, it's essential, right? We sometimes treat it as a luxury, but we have to know that it's essential in our life, and we shouldn't exclude that. If there is something missing in the way that you live your life right now, you can look around, you can assess what you have, where you're at, And you don't have to feel any kind of shame or, unpleasant emotion, but just for your own information, what you have is what, like you created so far in your life in one way or another. And once you start taking that responsibility, knowing that your choices, really lead to a certain events in your life, certain circumstances, and you're the one in control of making that choice, then you know that what is important and how you make that choice and what's really driving your decisions, because what's in the background, that subconscious mind, that's what really leading the way. And sometimes, a lot of times, we're not aware of why we are choosing something, in our life without really like thinking twice about it. We just kind of like being led by that belief system that we have within us. What do you believe you deserve in life? Who do you believe you should be? Because with your attachment to certain experiences in the past or certain roles that you play, or even when you put a label on yourself, right? Sometimes you think this is who you are and that's all that you are, and you limit yourself by that thinking, and it really creates that barrier for you moving forward, right? It doesn't necessarily mean if you experience something, some kind of struggle in life or addiction in life, that this is the end, that you don't deserve anything more than that. It doesn't mean that. It's just your own belief of what you deserve in life within yourself. That's what you should assess, really. And for you to come back to that present moment, you have to break that cycle of addiction. And it starts with you, it starts with your decision. It could be as fast as today. If you made that decision today and you are really going to be all in on it and every single day do something to help yourself, that's how it starts.
Yeah. And I think I definitely got stuck in that mindset of I am an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic. And subconsciously, your subconscious is so powerful. If you
Mm,
keep saying over and over again, I'm an alcoholic, without the
yeah.
concept of recovery, in my mind, an alcoholic is somebody that drinks alcohol. And so
Wow.
I think that held me back for so long because, in my opinion, your addiction isn't the end. It doesn't have to be the
Mhm.
end of your life. And in fact, it's often the beginning of something really beautiful because
Mhm.
addicts and alcoholics are often incredibly intelligent, beautiful, smart, wonderful,
Mhm.
hardworking, dedicated people when they can access that part and point it in a positive direction. So mostly it comes down to having hope that the future can be better than the past, and it can be.
Definitely. And in that way, we also can see the benefit that we can extract from that experience. So when you went through the process of recovery, you know it firsthand, what it feels like, what it's gonna take a person to do that shift, to do that change in their life. And that's something that all of us have to kind of embrace in the experiences that we had in our past, and see it from the perspective of gaining knowledge, gaining insight on how we can help others going through the same type of experience right now. And what can I do to share my experience on how it's been for me? Because I know it. I know what helped me, and I want to be the person that I wanted to talk back then when I had that problem. Can I be that person that helps the way that I would love to hear when I had that problem and nobody came? What would I say to that past version of me? And something that really practical, something applicable that could shift the way that they see life, the way that they can approach life. Um, and that's something that really shows you the connection to other people, because we're all going through the same thing. Sometimes we feel we're alone when in that cycle, we feel there is no hope, no escape, but so many people going through the same thing and we just don't know. We're so isolated, and we isolate ourselves on purpose. We feel that we're being judged, we're being criticized, all of that. But in the end of the day, if we just like find that connection with others, showing them that you're not the only one going through that. I've been in your shoes. I know how it feels like. This is what helped me. And there's a community of people here for you to support you. And then you will see the transformation of that person's life. And that's everything.
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, helping people that are in that moment where they're ready to make that change, that's what's super helpful for my day-to-day recovery is showing people that it's possible.
Yes, and you hear like a reflection to show them that this is the other side. I made it, and you can make it too. It is possible, and that's the evidence of it. So that's why they are inspired just by being in your presence of you and the people who really understand them, who see them, and somebody is being heard and seen, that person feels this value that we've been talking about, that they're here for a reason. And now they feel that their health is a priority. They have to do something about it, because life is precious. It's a gift.
Yeah, definitely. Every moment.
Every single moment of it. And I'm so glad we had that conversation today. Thank you for joining the podcast. And as we close today, could you just tell our listeners where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can find us at Karuna Kava, Karuna Kava. Same on Facebook, Karuna Kava. And then our website is karunakava.com. If you want to check out any of our awesome products, we also have Kana, which we didn't get to talk about. That's another really cool product. But yeah, check us out at karunakava.com and all of our social media channels. We've got a lot of fun content.
That's great. I'm going to also add it to the show notes. And what would be the final thought for our listeners?
I think the final thought is for me, I just went through a I'm going through a cancer scare right now, and
Mm,
I just had surgery and had 5 inches of my arm cut out and a lymph node removed,
mm,
and it's really changed my perspective on life in general.
yeah.
It's because we every moment is not guaranteed to us. At one point, every single one of us will close our eyes for the last time. And so it's up to us to make sure we make the most out of our life and to get the most out of every moment because each moment is so precious. And Kava is one of those things that has helped me get the most out of life since it's come into my life. And I'm very grateful for that.
Wow, it's beautiful. And we all wish you, the best in your process of recovery, and hope everything works out for you. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and wisdom. And I hope you enjoy your day and the days after.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Stay tuned.